It's a silent epidemic tearing families apart. Millions of parents find themselves asking the same painful question: why did my child become so distant? Most parents describe it as a sudden volcanic event, an unexpected cutoff out of the blue. But for the child, it's rarely sudden. Research shows it's usually the culmination of years of unaddressed tensions, where the child felt their attempts to communicate were ignored. There is a profound disconnect between a parent's memory of a good childhood and the adult child's memory of an emotionally unsafe one. Parents often point to the material support they provided, but for the adult child, material stability never replaces emotional attunement. We've moved from a culture of family obligation to one of personal growth and boundaries, and the rules of parenting have changed mid-game. Understanding this gap is the first, most difficult step. In the next part, we'll explore how boundaries become the new battleground. Join us as we bridge the gap and uncover the psychology every parent needs to know. For generations, family was defined by duty and hierarchy. But today, the rules have changed. We live in an era of expressive individualism. Historically, family was a lifelong contract. Now, relationships are increasingly viewed as conditional, based on their ability to support our personal happiness. The rise of therapy culture has given adult children a new vocabulary. Relationships are no longer just difficult. They are categorized as toxic or safe. This leads to what psychologists call the accountability crisis, where children rewrite their family history through the lens of modern standards. A childhood the parent remembers as mostly good may be redefined by the adult child as fundamentally unsafe. The memories simply don't match. For the child, a boundary is a tool for safety. But for the parent, it feels like a weapon of rejection, a wall built after decades of devotion. We are witnessing the end of unconditional ties and the beginning of the voluntary family. Understanding this is key to finding a path back. In the next part, we'll dive into the specific role that divorce and values clashes play in these deep rifts. While disconnects are common, some rifts are triggered by fundamental shifts in who we are and what we believe. Divorce is a major catalyst. Over 70% of estranged parents are divorced, often forcing children into painful loyalty conflicts. For many, the rift is identity-triggered. When a child's true self challenges a long-held family myth, the result is often rejection. Today, 1 in 5 Americans are estranged due to political polarization, where mismatched values become an insurmountable wall. Stats reveal a gender gap. Adult children are 4 times more likely to be estranged from their fathers than their mothers. We are choosing individual well-being over traditional family loyalty. It's a profound shift in the very social contract of the home. Recognizing these identity-based rifts is essential for any hope of repair. In the next part, we'll look at the collateral damage. Stay with us as we continue to explore the psychology behind the distance. Estrangement is never a private event. It creates a ripple effect, tearing through the entire family network and leaving a wake of collateral damage. Grandchildren are the most invisible victims. Because parents act as gatekeepers, a rift with a parent often means the immediate loss of a grandparent. 1 in 7 grandparents is denied access to their grandchildren. For a child, this sudden disappearance can be experienced as a profound, unexplained trauma. Grandparents experience what psychologists call ambiguous loss, a raw wound that never heals because there is no ritual for mourning an estrangement. Siblings are often forced to choose sides. If they stay close to the parents, they risk being cut off by the estranged sibling too. It's called triangulation. Our modern culture of no contact frames this as empowerment. But for the family system, it often results in a total collapse of social capital. For many, these rifts become their greatest life regret. understanding the full cost is essential for anyone navigating the path of distance. Join us as we continue to uncover the hard truths behind the silent epidemic of estrangement. Mending a rift is one of the most difficult journeys a parent can take, but reconciliation is possible if you know the new rules of the game. The first hurdle is the accountability gap. Where you see your sacrifices as a provider, your child sees a need for emotional safety that wasn't met. Repair begins with a non-defensive apology. This means agreeing with your child's experience without caveats and without saying the word "but." You must move from being a parent verb, correcting and managing, to a parent noun, a stable, loving presence that waits. Sometimes the greatest act of love is the power of the pause, respecting their silence as a space where they can grow into their own person. Successful repair means agreeing to stop litigating the past. It's about building a new normal based on the people you are today. Taking the high road isn't about being right, it's about being connected. And in the end, that connection is what matters most. Join us for the final part as we conclude our journey into the psychology of family distance. We've looked at the mind and the heart, but there's one final factor: the world around us. Aging isn't just about willpower, it's about environment. In blue zones around the world, health isn't a choice, it's a nudge. The environment makes healthy behaviors unavoidable. Walkable streets and hilly terrains encourage natural movement, making exercise a byproduct of daily life rather than a chore. Spontaneous social encounters are engineered into these spaces, porches, courtyards, and cafes that combat the epidemic of loneliness. These third places provide the social infrastructure needed for a sense of belonging and purpose, keeping us engaged well into our hundreds. Designing for longevity also means designing for all ages, where wisdom is passed down and every generation is needed. Happy aging is the art of mastering your mind, your heart, and your world. May you design a life that truly thrives. Thank you for joining us on this journey. The art of living well is yours to master. Estrangement is rarely a two-person conflict. In nearly 80% of cases, parents believe a third party, most often a spouse, is the primary driver. Psychologists call it the cult of one. A new partner can become the sole interpreter of a child's past, reframing their upbringing through a lens of trauma. This creates a painful loyalty bind. To stay loyal to the marriage, the adult child often feels they must effectively betray the parent. It's a conflict of allegiance. For parents, the rules have shifted. You must recognize the spouse as the new alpha. Going around them often only entrenches the rift. The spouse often acts as the primary gatekeeper, controlling access to not just the child, but more critically, to the grandchildren. Often, estrangement is the path of least resistance. It's a way to save the marriage from the intense stress that family friction can cause. Viewing this as a systemic issue, not just a personal reflection, is key to understanding the distance. In the next part, we'll look at the psychology of the child. Stay with us as we continue to uncover the hidden catalysts behind adult-child estrangement. Contrary to stereotypes, the decision to go no contact is rarely impulsive. For the adult child, it is a slow, agonizing last resort after years of failed repair. It's a choice between their own survival and a bond that has become a source of fear rather than comfort. A choice made in the name of safety. When a caregiver is a source of stress, the nervous system remains in a constant state of fight or flight. Severing the tie is an attempt to finally find peace. 80% of those who walk away report immense psychological relief. But that relief is almost always paired with a profound, invisible grief. They aren't just mourning the parent they had, they are mourning the parent they never had. It's what psychologists call disenfranchised grief. Society often views this as a betrayal. Adult children face intense judgment from a world that believes family is everything, regardless of the cost. For many, no contact is an act of radical self-love, the realization that a biological connection does not grant a lifetime pass for emotional harm. In our next part, we'll explore the cycle of estrangement and the possibility of long-term healing. Estrangement is rarely a single final event. For many families, it's a fluid cycle of rupture, tentative reconciliation, and painful re-estrangement. Psychologists call it the approach and retreat pattern. One side hopes for accountability, while the other seeks reassurance. The needs often don't align. This cycle is often fueled by generational trauma, the silent transmission of unresolved wounds and unhealthy coping mechanisms from one parent to the next. Re-estrangement often happens when old patterns resurface. A single critical comment can confirm to the child that the fundamental system hasn't changed. In reunions, the accountability gap remains a hurdle. Success requires the parent to acknowledge the child's perspective without litigating the past. Breaking the cycle means moving from reaction to response. It's about modeling repair and prioritizing emotional safety for the next generation. The goal isn't just reconciliation, it's transformation. Accepting the relationship's limits can be the first step toward a new kind of peace. Join us as we continue to explore the path forward in this silent epidemic. We've explored the causes and the rifts, but the ultimate win in this journey isn't just reconciliation, it's the return of the parent to a state of wholeness and joy. It begins with radical acceptance, leaving the door to your child unlocked, but no longer waiting by it. Your happiness is no longer a hostage to their choices. Empowerment comes when you shift the focus from their actions to your agency. You are an individual first, with a life that has value outside of your role as a parent. You must move from control to influence, offering your wisdom only when invited. This respect for their space is, ironically, the greatest bridge you can build. Healing requires community. Invest your emotional energy into found family, friends, and passions that fill the vacuum left by the distance. You cannot control the wind, your child's choices, but you can always adjust your sails. Healing is a proactive choice you make for yourself. I love my child, and I am open to repair. But my peace is now my own. Thank you for joining us on this journey. May you find your way to wholeness. Stay peaceful. Stay hopeful. The path forward is yours to design. Estrangement has found a new accelerator, the digital world. What was once a private family crisis is now a viral cultural movement. On platforms like TikTok, billions of views are dedicated to hashtags like #ToxicFamily. These spaces provide instant validation from millions of strangers. The rise of TikTok therapists has democratized clinical terms. Ordinary family friction is often reframed as trauma or toxicity for a digital audience. For parents, the pain is compounded by digital humiliation, learning about births, weddings, or milestones through a social media post after being blocked. Algorithms can create echo chambers that encourage no contact as a primary tool for self-care, often leaving parents feeling blindsided and without a path back. Experts debate, is this a social contagion fueled by screens or a long overdue movement for radical self-preservation? The answer depends on who you ask. Navigating this digital landscape requires a new kind of discernment, finding the balance between healthy boundaries and a total collapse of family ties. Join us for the series finale as we explore the future of the family and the ultimate path to peace. We are living through the greatest transformation of the family since the Industrial Revolution. The very definition of kinship is shifting. We've moved from a vertical hierarchy of duty to a fluid web of emotional connection. Power is being shared and relationships are being earned. As biological families become smaller, chosen families are moving to the mainstream, filling the gaps left by distance with a new kind of voluntary love. The most profound trend is intergenerational healing, the conscious choice to break cycles of trauma and prioritize the emotional health of the next generation. Success is no longer measured by survival, but by resilience, by whether our children are less burdened by the past than we were. We are discovering a world where love is thicker than blood. The future of the family isn't its disappearance, it's its liberation. Family is no longer a destiny you are born into. It's a choice you make every day. May your choice lead you to connection. Thank you for joining us on this journey. The path to understanding is always open. For too long, estrangement has been a private shame. But the silence is finally breaking, and a new culture of communal healing is beginning. Parents are moving from isolated suffering to public advocacy, sharing their stories to replace one-sided narratives with nuanced truth. When we share, we move from being victims of a secret to participants in a community. This collective wisdom is a powerful antidote to isolation. Healing doesn't always require a reunion. It is possible to find deep, lasting peace even without the closure of a child's return. Public storytelling is becoming a survival guide for the emotional fog, helping families navigate the limits of loyalty and the nature of forgiveness. It is the tribe and the purpose, the chosen family, and the internal work that keeps the spirit intact through the longest silences. The architecture of a good life is built on connection, accountability, and the courage to find peace within yourself. Thank you for joining us. Stay strong. Stay connected. Your journey to wholeness has just begun. We've looked at the causes and the rifts, but there is one final tool for reclaiming your life: the science of forgiveness. Harboring a grudge keeps your brain's threat system, the amygdala, in a constant state of hypervigilance. It's a loop of chronic stress. Forgiveness acts as a neurobiological reset. It engages the prefrontal cortex to down-regulate fear and rewire the brain for empathy and peace. There is a difference between decisional forgiveness, the choice to let go, and emotional forgiveness, the actual release of bitterness. The result is true emotional freedom. Measurable benefits like lowered blood pressure and improved immunity follow the act of letting go. Forgiveness is an internal act. It does not require reconciliation or even a return. It is a gift of peace you give to yourself. You have the power to move from victim to survivor. Thank you for joining us on this journey. May your future be defined by peace. The path to freedom is always within reach. Live well, stay hopeful.